This is going to be one of those videos where it might be better if I had a friend, but I'm going to try to show you on my buddy Dallas here. So this is about kind of body positioning. There's this concept in martial arts called Mai. It's about range, right? It's you know, what range and what weapon. So if I'm here, this is like elbow range. Go back a little. This is like punching range. Go back a little. You know, this is kicking range. You know, go back a little. This is one type of weapon. So longer weapon. Then, you know, like a thrown weapon, etc. Versus all the way, like if you collapse it all the way down, now we're in like a grappling range here. So the idea is, if this person wants to be in one place, I want to not be in that place, and I want to be in a place that I'm more comfortable with. Now, if we think about the ranges, if we call this grappling range 0, we call elbow range and knee range 1, we'll call punching range 2, kicking range 3, and then we'll call anything past that like a 4, right? So 4 is pretty safe to be in. So I'm going to start here. I'm not really worried about anything. If we're having a heated conversation, you know, I've talked about disco position and, you know, putting up a fence, you know, things like that before, you know, I'm here. Again, I don't love this. I know a lot of people really do this, but I feel like this is showing you submission and whatnot can be good, but it can also kind of give you power that you want to come in and, you know, and violate me, basically. So if you're here, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I want to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are you doing? I want to be there. But if he comes in, and I will show that this noodle arm is very scientifically measured to be the size of my arm. A lot of times what people do is they want to get in that 2 range and they're wanting to load up here. They're kind of like fighting with this weight back. And you can kind of look at people. I like to look right at the solar plexus. I see shoulders, you know, I kind of see hips, and I kind of check where I see people's weight. That is my cue. Weight shifting is where I like to move. Because one, if you're moving your weight, like if you're transitioning weight, that's where your base is weak, and I can come in and I can usually unbalance and do some damage. My whole goal in life, usually, if someone has attacked me, is to push you over and run away. That's what I'm looking for. You know, I can push people over very, very, very forcefully if need be. But that is always my goal, is to get away or to have not something happen, and just, you know, being cognizant of ranges and, you know, putting things in between us if I can, and different things can be one. Again, I'm keeping my hands in a position, but I'm not necessarily doing this. When my hands go up, that means something's going to happen. So one of the things that I like to do, if he's coming in, I like to stay just outside of this 2 range, but I like to put my front foot forward, keep in kind of a neutral position here. And the idea is, if I see him move back, that's when I'm going to come forward, right? Coming forward, I'm coming forward just with a push to the solar plexus there, but very easily that could be a strike to the throat. That's a very good opener. My other part of my opener is slap to the groin or punch to the jeans there. So the idea is I want to get away. So if I have to punch you on the crotch like 3 or 4 times, chances are you're done and I can go about my business there. Let me stand old Dallas back up here. Didn't know my crotch punching was going to be so effective here. So again, I'm just out of range, but I've set my base so that I can shift back very easily, but also shift forward very easy. So in my neutral weight, I'm just outside of 2, right? But if I push my weight forward, I'm coming into where I can very quickly be in 1. That's my goal. I want to bypass 2. 2 is where most people want to fight. You know, this is probably small people aren't attacking me. This is a big, strong guy. He wants to come up. He wants to throw these dukes. I'm not into it. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like a good time. So I want to bypass that range. He wants to be here. I'm going to be a little bit back. If he goes to load up, I'm going to come forward up in this case. I feel much better about an elbow-knee altercation or staying out in like a kicking altercation than I do in that too, okay? So that's just something to show you guys, that body positioning. I like that kind of sparring stance, or sometimes they will call this back stance, right? Where I got my feet like an L. I like my feet more at 45s. I want my hip lined up with his center line, with his solar plexus, hip to solar plexus. What that does is that means I am very strong here, but I'm also very protected with my front leg. I'm protecting my groin, just in case I'm fighting a carbon copy of myself. I've got my shoulder in a position where I could quickly come up and, you know, do this. There's a whole martial art, it's called Kisi, very fascinating. And it's used out of basically a grab your head and use your elbows positioning. And it's one that I really like for guard, because if he goes to hit me and I can, you know, get this elbow driving in and work to hit my elbows while protecting my head, that can be very, very devastating. I like to kick into the knee or into the groin, or use little foot sweeps as I come forward, using my momentum and my weight to push. If I can get you going straight back, I can get you to fall over and I can get away. Now, there is a lot of people that are jiu-jitsu-y people, right? Jiu-jitsu is great. I love jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying anything against jiu-jitsu. I'm just saying jiu-jitsu wrestlers, they're not getting in this too. They're trying to really get up in you. Or I guess a jiu-jitsu guy might get on his butt and scoot at you. But, you know, these wrestlers, these guys that come in like this, you know, that kind of Greco-Roman thing, that's a different methodology. I don't want to let them get close. I want to stay 3, and if I feel like they're going to walk through 2, then I'm gonna spring forward. Same kind of thing. I'm going to spring forward. I'm looking for that groin. I'm looking for eyes. I'm looking for, you know, headbutt. Anything that I could quickly get in and, you know, take an advantage and then get away. The nice thing about someone that's coming through that 2 range, if they're coming in and I see that coming, I can always use it too, right? I could always start with a punch. The thing about a wrestler, jiu-jitsu guy, you know, they say a jiu-jitsu black belt is only a black belt until you punch him in the face. Then he's a brown belt. You punch him in the face again, he's a blue belt. You know, you can get those guys down just by using, you know, just effective striking. So just some stuff, just some things to think about, that body positioning, and, you know, thinking about where they want to be strong. There's this movie called Red Belt. It's really good. I forget who's in it, but the guy is teaching, I think it's a women's self-defense thing, and he's like, if I came up to you and I put my arms around you here, could you strike me? She says no, and he's like, okay, what about from over here? Could you strike me? She's like, no, and he's like, well, what about right here? Could you strike me? And she's like, yes. And he's like, all right, lesson 1, don't stand there. So there you go, guys. You guys have a good one.